Hi there, Taurus. Thank you for joining me for your monthly forecast for September. This month begins with a very important solar eclipse on the first day. It gives you the opportunity over the next 6 months to really invest a lot of time and energy in your creativity, your artistry, and it can also be a potentially very positive time for your relationships, especially of the romantic kind, or if you're wanting to add to your family, or you have kids already and their exploits are something that you get a great deal of satisfaction from. But it's not a solar eclipse without strings attached. It is in opposition to Neptune, and Neptune is the planet of dreams. So when it comes to your expectations, it's going to be important to try to keep them a little bit rooted to the ground. And this solar eclipse will also tie together to the lunar eclipse, which occurs in the sign of Pisces on the 16th. Now that's much more to do with friendship, sociability, and your long-term future. And that is going to be forging a very difficult right angle with Mars, the planet which is very much to do with instant gratification. Now Mars for you, for most of this month, is in a very passionate part of your scope where, alongside Saturn, even though it's moved beyond an exact conjunction, it is asking you to grapple with your long-term resources and shared assets in terms of the practicalities of life, but it could also throw up some situations where things change because your desires are in a state of flux. And because of this emphasis on romance, that I think is quite important. Now Mercury is going to be twisting backwards through to the 22nd of this month. This is the planet of communication. So although this solar eclipse is there, it doesn't mean to say that everything is going to go exactly as we hope. There could be some stops and starts, about turns, and maybe some disappointments too. But I'm one of those people that sees Mercury retrograde as the potential for great positivity as well. So if there are talents of yours that you've not been using as much as you could, that have lain dormant, then this retrograde is kind of asking you to have a good think about them and see how you can bring them into play. Now Uranus, the planet of surprises, is actually tuning in brilliantly to Mars from the 11th through to the 22nd. So this is your chance to fall back on past skills and talents and perhaps refresh them, dust them down and apply them in a more modern context. And there could be some really quite interesting opportunities that develop really quite out of the blue across that period of time. Now the other major event this month, without any question at all, is that Jupiter moves from a self-expressive zone that it's been in for the last year and into a more practical one. It's asking you to combine any ideas that you have or strands with a little bit more of a structure. Now when Jupiter moves into the 6th house, he's not actually at his best, but I think in the sign of Libra, it just suggests that if you can use your intellect, you can help use his energy to your benefit over the next year. And it can be a time when you find out a lot about health, fitness, diet, nutrition, all of these areas. And it may be a time when you can also become really quite fortuitous about your working situation. But Jupiter doesn't always provide its rewards on a plate. It can sometimes do so. It is the planet of fortune. But the harder we work, the luckier we can get. And that's something that you should try to take in to the next 12 months. Venus, your ruling planet, is also in this practical zone as the month begins. And when it gets to the 9th to the 13th, it's squaring up with Pluto. If there is something you want to expand in your situation, you need to be mindful of your obligations. But someone could kind of give you some kind of offer which sounds very tempting, but just look out for it to see if there are any hidden catches. The full moon or lunar eclipse, which occurs mid-month, is, as I say, in your sector of friendship, sociability, but it is quarrelling with Mars. I think here it's asking you not to be too impulsive about anything to do with investing money, taking risks around your assets. And you may find in some ways around group situations that there could be some quite turbulent politics. It's not necessarily going to be all sweetness and light, and that could be the downside of Mercury. There may be some situations where you think a situation is as it is, but then you could find out later that it was actually quite different. So do stay as informed and as in touch with others as you possibly can. Now, Venus actually moves into the most wonderful of locations for you towards the end of this month on the 28th. And it's just saying to you, try to keep the lines of communication open, try to keep the diplomacy going, especially around your love life. And it could be that you're going to get to know someone in a very practical location this month, or perhaps into October too. You know, it could be on public transport, it could be queuing in the supermarket, it could be by the water cooler in your workplace. So just be open-minded. The chance to get to know someone new won't necessarily come just in the more obvious locations like pubs, clubs and online. As the month comes to a close, Mars also relocates into a very exciting area for you, your ninth solar house. And I think as September comes to a close and October begins, this can see you much more adventurous. One of your great defaults, if you like, is that you are very stable in your approach to situations. You stick at things for the longer term. What Mars is going to be encouraging you to do here is be much more open-minded about how you can push outside your comfort zone. So it's quite an exciting end to the month as far as that and also your relationships are concerned. It's been a real pleasure being with you, Taurus. Thank you for joining me. Good luck and goodbye for now.